Thanks to everyone for organising this. Thanks to the sponsors of today. Thanks to the Cooperative Venture for Capacity Building in Rural Australia for funding some of the research that I'll be presenting today. And thanks Tim Cummins for helping me so capably with that research. We are trying to encourage a process of self-help. Someday the local community has to pick up all this. So said the Commonwealth Department of Primary Industries and Energy in 1989, in the year that the Decade of Land Care was launched. A strong feeling of ownership over the NRM planning process will increase motivation and likelihood that the outcomes identified in the regional integrated NRM plans are achieved. So said the National NRM Capacity Building Framework in 2002 for the regional delivery model. The key points I'll be making today is that I will argue that the raison d'etre, the distinctive claim of community-based NRM, lies in helping people to help themselves. We need to acknowledge, understand and learn how to address the Samaritan's dilemma, which I'll explain later, that faces us in helping farmers self-help. Okay, the origins and evolution of community-based NRM in Australia, CBNRM, I'll use that as an acronym. So prior approaches of top-down, expert-driven transfer of knowledge tended to foster dependency from farmers. Now, NRM programs generally try to help people manage natural resource problems. What's different about community-based natural resource management programs is that they seek to help people to help themselves in solving those problems. Also, politicians and government officials were attracted by the lure of community-based natural resource management, stretching funds further by kick-starting local voluntarism. Okay, the idea that, especially during the Decade of Land Care, if only you could get local cooperation started by a bit of catalytic funding, that would go on and grow and governments could just step back and joyously watch it all go ahead without their future help. Ongoing financial support eventually came to be accepted with the Natural Heritage Trust, but the emphasis on self-help and community ownership persisted. Okay, so the Samaritan's dilemma. This is a quote that I like. The paradox of supplying help to self-help is the fundamental conundrum of all helping relationships. Most external help actually overrides or undercuts the budding capacity of self-help and thus ends up being unhelpful. Buchanan's solution was for the helper to somehow acquire strategic courage and convince the helpees, the recipients, that he or she was determined only to help those who help themselves. And in my interpretation, the regional delivery model is pretty much a neoliberal exercise in new public management, pretty much an exercise in purchaser-provider delivery of services. It includes stringent financial accountability measures, and they follow frustrations of the Commonwealth in particular with cost shifting from the states and also from communities and lower down. And in the case of farmers, most lapses in reciprocating help, I would argue, in NRM are probably motivated unconsciously by reduced pressure to help themselves. For example, helping themselves by reducing their land use intensity, keeping up with the latest R&D results relevant to them, experimenting with possible solutions on farm, sending their kids to uni, cooperating with neighbours. How might community-based NRM change the payoffs? Firstly, possibly by greater community ownership of decisions by farmers. the fact that farmers and community members have participated in making decisions, the more likely are they to feel responsibility for seeing those decisions implemented. The other side of the coin possibly is a community body may be less able to deny help when reciprocity requires because of those social ties, and in a smaller community at least. So there are advantages there, and James Buchanan suggested this, of having government there basically setting the hard line so the community body can say, oh, you know, we'd like to help you, but the government's going to get us in trouble if we don't. So it's useful having a good cop, bad cop relationship. So bringing down the scale from the region to the sub-regional level seems to be having a pretty profound effect on farmers' willingness to reciprocate. So devolving NRM helping to CBNRM arrangements can be effective in strengthening farmer capacities for self-help, although this benefit declines with the increasing scale of community-based natural resource management. So, as I said, the raison d'etre of community-based NRM lies in helping people to help themselves. It's about making community members more likely to reciprocate the help given them under CBNRM by helping themselves. Now, help from community-based NRM may include leadership, networking, R&D, financial incentives, social incentives, regulation, extension, many different ways of helping. Extension's an important way of helping, but it's not the only way of helping. And if anything else, what those results show is the importance of institutional arrangements as a way of helping. By devolving responsibility to it more locally can be an important way of helping. We need to acknowledge, understand and learn systematically how to solve the Samaritan's dilemma. And finally, a business approach to CBNRM, which we're supposed to be on course to deliver with Caring for Our Country, requires us at all levels, not at the regional, just at the regional level, to devise targets, milestones, program logics and monitoring and evaluation strategies accordingly. If that's what we're trying to achieve in community-based NRM, with helping people to help themselves, that's what we need to be monitoring and program logicking for. So there's the key points, which I'll just let you scan over.
Thanks very much, Graham.